this is your first time, this is not my first time doing this channel, but first time we've been doing this live stuff. So welcome, thanks for joining. We're going to be just talking tools in the garage. This is kind of the place that I like to hang out and do all my videos, and so sometimes I have to do them in the yard and whatnot. But the garage is kind of what this channel is all about. That's what we call the Average Joel's Garage. So welcome. And what we were talking about just a brief minute ago when I was kind of getting this channel warmed up and started is the average person doesn't have, these days, doesn't seem to have the same tools as they did years ago. And I like to post videos about how to use different tools, do some product reviews on here, talk about what you can use instead of something else, because let's face it, this is a hammer, but this is also a hammer. And so this makes a weird sound. I'm going to explain why in a sec, but there are reasons and times you want to use one of these, and then there are some times when you just have to use this. I've seen, no joke, people use a rubber mallet on a nail. Not the most advisable thing to do, but in a pinch, some things work. So we'll talk about those kind of things, and we'll just see how it goes. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the chat. And right now, I'm not seeing any chats coming through, so we're just going to continue rolling and see where we go from here. So if you guys do have questions and I can see them, my question, or I guess I would ask you to be kind and courteous to other folks. I've seen, YouTube is funny. The forum is like really unique, and then people will get in these chats and they just blast it with a bunch of like random stuff or just mean, hateful comments. So someone will be like, "Oh, look at that guy. He's got glasses," or "Oh my gosh, Spartan race. What is that about?" And all these things. So I would ask you, if you're feeling frustrated and angst, if you need to take it out on somebody, you can take it out on this chat room. That would be strange, but it doesn't stop people. So, but I would ask that you could just comment on things or ask questions so we can kind of make this a useful dialogue. But with that, so right now today we're talking tools again, and so most people. I was working on someone's car yesterday, and a really nice lady. I told her, "Hey, you need a couple tools to do the job," because we were just trying to replace the headlight. The headlight needed a socket, screwdriver, and some pliers. And when I told her socket, she didn't know what the socket was because, again, from her line of work, who cares? So she had no reason to know what a socket was. Perhaps her dad didn't tell her. I don't even know, honestly, if I brought my daughter in here, if she would know what a socket was if I lined up all the tools. So she's also younger. But that said, we're going to go over a lot of this stuff in a very novice kind of average person kind of way. So if you're a tool expert and you know everything about tools, this may be just fun to hear me talk about tools and know that there's better ones. This may be just time to tune out, or you may just be like, "Oh, I'm curious what this guy's gonna say." So either way, feel free to stick around, but just know that that's what we're approaching this by is the average tools for the average person. So with that, the most common tool I always see is this right here. This is a regular claw hammer. Now this has there's a few different functions that you can use with this, and I should have grabbed a nail. But with this, obviously I've seen people like hold it like this. It's a hammer, so if you're up close, you could knock something in here. But if you're trying to hit something hard, you actually want to hold it from the bottom of the handle so you get a lot more oomph. Okay, that's just the distance. You have more leverage when you hit something harder than if you're up close. So the way to start a nail, if you had to, is let's pretend this was a nail. You could just put your fingers and pinch it like this, and then you would just tap, tap, tap along the top. Or you could put it between your fingers and tap like that. The other option is, I've seen this is kind of cool. If you're up against a tight space, you can actually use the side of the hammer, wrap your fingers like this, put the nail on there, and go wham, and then hit it like this, and then that starts the nail, and then you can keep going. Okay, so this is the standard hammer. Now let's say this nail is in there and you need to get it out. The claw part is, let me knock this in a little bit. There we go. So the claw part is for removing a nail. So you would slide it over the nail, and then you would get to where it grips, and you just simply rock this, and that should pull the nail right out. That's how a claw hammer works. Now, this is a standard size one. I have smaller versions of these. This would be one of them, except this is a slightly different one. You'll see that this is rounded on the tip. And so why would it be rounded? Well, a lot of people that use metalworking use something like this to round out. If you have a piece of metal that you're trying to flatten out, you can use this to pound it. So this is a ball peen hammer. And so it has a regular hammer head on one side and the ball kind of half semicircle hemispherical shape on this side. So depending on what you're trying to hammer out and soften it up, like bodywork, stuff like that for the car. This one I got from Harbor Freight. I think it was like $2. A lot of these tools, actually, most of these tools today are all Harbor Freight jobs now that I think about it. So this is a ball peen hammer. Most of you, and the average person, is not going to need one of these. They just look like the other kind of hammer with the rounded off edges. And you will miss having the claw because the claw is very useful. Now, one more claw type is this. This is called a framing hammer. So size-wise, it's about the same. Usually it's a little bit taller. And there is a groove in this right here. You'll see that groove. You can start your nail. You stick your nail right there and you go bam. And that's how you start because it's magnetic on this little, see there's a little magnet right there. So it's kind of cool. You just stick a nail in there and then just start it. But this is also kind of contoured and curved for holding it right here, not here, but you would hold it right here. And you'd be using this for framing because it's perfect for hitting the frames in the like the 2x4s and you're doing a frame up in the house. And I don't use these very often. I don't even remember how I got this one, but I rarely use this hammer because you know what I don't do? I don't do a lot of framing. I just don't. It's just not part of my normal day. But what I do use a lot of is this guy right here. This is the classic 3-pound sledge. So if you have something that you just need to hit hard, like say a piece of concrete sticking out and you need to like nicely put you could put a screwdriver or something and you want to just give it a good hit, or if you just want to hit the concrete because you have to bust it up, this would bust it up. If you needed to bust up really anything, this is your buster. This is like just beat something down to pieces. That's how this would work. It's heavy, 3 pounds compared to like these are like, this is, I don't even know how many ounces, we'll say like 6 or 8 maybe, but this hammering this all day long is going to get you probably big arms, but it's also going to get you to be pretty tired. So use this one sparingly. You're not going to use this one all the time. Then we got the infamous, you guys know what this is? It's a rubber mallet. So rubber mallets have different uses. You're not going to use them on nails and stuff. So anything that you don't want to damage that you're going to tap. You can use them in automotive work or even plastic, but something you're trying to just gently knock in that's soft and we'll say more sensitive. That's why this is made out of, we'll say rubber, but this is this is a Harbor Freight job. This is not very rubbery. You'd want this to be more soft, but if you wanted to punch and hit something that you're going to tap into place like wood, you could use this to tap it in. There are, for woodworking guys, there's a million different types of tools for that type of work. So know that you're probably not going to care, and that's why I'm not going over them. If there's a woodworking guy out there, I'm sure he's probably like, hey man, there's like all this stuff, and you could use these things and that thing, but really, we're just going after what, again, average stuff, average garage. So that's the rubber mallet, and we've covered almost all the hammers, though I've saved my favorite one for last. Does anybody know what this one is? So this is a dead blow hammer. I use this when I'm working on various things. Oftentimes the car, if I'm trying to break something loose. Now, this is also Harbor Freight. I like that it's orange because I can find it easy. And I don't see the size of weight on this sucker. Oh, it's 4 pounds. This is a 4 pound. So if this is filled with lead shot like what would be in a shotgun shell. So what you would do is this, if you hit something with this sledge, it can go bounce off, and it can bounce off the sledge, off that surface, boing like that, because it's metal and it just reverberates, right? So in this, the dead blow hammer, when you hit, all of the impact goes into the surface. It doesn't bounce, it just slams. So I'll give you an example. Ready? So instead of going bounce, it'll just slam and stay there. So that's how the dead blow hammer works. Do you need a dead blow hammer? I do, but in the average garage, if you have a decent toolbox, definitely you can get a smaller version of it. I find it very useful. But if I had to say what would the only hammers be, I definitely would need this one. And man, probably this one. If I had to pick, these would be the two that I use the most. In fact, this is my nicer of ones. I have one that looks like this that's just much more busted up. So that's the hammers, guys. I'm going to go over, I think, just really quick because we're almost at time, about 10 minutes. And what's funny is, in my view right now, I don't see any feed. I don't see any comments. I don't see anybody on there live, but that may be because my view is, on my other channel, I see all kinds of stuff when I do feeds. So there may be a reason, so I'm not sure. So if you're commenting, I apologize. I'm not, like I said, you can see my view. It just literally has the view and it says that welcome to the live chat. And it doesn't say anything else and doesn't show any top fans. So, but I have 12,000 subscribers at least. So again, for all of you that have subscribed, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed doing this channel. So I'm going to do a couple more tools here in a sec. So let's talk about some screwdrivers. But just wanted to say shout out to everybody who's joins this channel and everything that you guys have done and contributed and all the comments and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you. So we're talking screwdrivers, and there are different kinds of screwdrivers, believe it or not. So you hear the standard classic screwdriver, which is this one. This is just like a thin little, and I love this screwdriver. This one is so useful. Don't get a crappy screwdriver, get a good screwdriver. It matters. You can use this for grinding stuff out. If you have to clear out this little space like right here, you can use a screwdriver for that. The main thing, of course, is to take out a screw, but I find that most of the time we're not going to be taking screws out if you don't have to. Because these screws are kind of old school. There's a few screws like this around the house and stuff, but I mean, like an outlet cover. If you wanted to take an outlet cover off, this is the screwdriver to use right here. And so, because it doesn't have this, we'll call it the star. The star one, like this is a Phillips screwdriver, okay? So the Phillips screwdriver, I'm guessing was named after a guy like Phillips. I have no idea. But really, you don't care. And I don't care. Because we just need these things to work. What I will tell you is if you can get one of these screwdrivers that has a magnetic tip, it is very nice because it will make it easier when you are working with a screw. And the screw, it'll hold on to the tip of it. So less likely to drop it in an engine or in a wall or something like that. So something to consider. I would always have at least one of these two types. There are different sizes though. So that's where we got to get into on this little multi-tool. And I think I've done a demo on this one before. This unique little weird, what's this called? This is actually a Durabuilt brand, the Mr. Seven Hands. Okay, so this has the different sizes. It has 3 different sizes for that spade, we'll call it right here. This is this little guy. So we have those 3. One a little bit bigger than the other. So if you can see those, they're nothing super special, but if you need them, they're there. But on the other side, they have an actual rating for these called, little small one is called PH1 for Phillips 1, PH2, and then PH3. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, is there a PH0? There is this little small shaft that doesn't look like anything. You don't screw this, and then there is, in fact, a small PH0 screwdriver inside here, too. So this is kind of a useful thing if you're in a pinch. If I was to, again, build a kit for like a single mom or someone around the house that needed something simple, I'd probably throw this in there because this is not the screwdriver you're going to use all the time. This is a screwdriver you're going to use like all the time. But a single mom or a grandma or someone who's just like has a garage that doesn't ever do anything with it, I would use this and have at least one of these in there. Now, if you want to go a little bit more pro style, give me a second, I'm going to drink coffee. Oh man, that's good. Okay. So there are these power screwdrivers, and this one's a Skil brand. I actually have a DeWalt tip in there, but you can actually take the tips out, swap them out by pushing this little shaft down. And I teach this because I've seen so many people get intimidated by tools and they just don't know how they work. So let's go over how they work. This is, like I said, this is the typical system for anything that grabs onto a tool bit. You just pinch this bit and you slide it down. There's a sleeve that engages. There's a little slider inside that allows it to grab, and then you let it go. Now it's not coming out. Okay, so it just kind of collects over. So now, that's kind of funny. I never realized on my feed right here, I can see on the top, it shows like how many people are on, and then it shows the people that like it or not, and then it has a dollar value next to it. So I guess People can donate money. That's kind of funny. I didn't have that last time, so that's cool. Um, anyway, the thing about this power driver is that you can turn it one way with just your fingers. You just pinch it one way, and it goes one way. And if you turn it counterclockwise, it takes it back the other way. Also has a light on it. That's very useful because lights. I will do another series just on lights. I'm kind of a light freak. All guys that work on stuff probably like lights. If not, then that's a shame because I would definitely stereotype us. Now, these are good, but it doesn't have a lot of torque. So you just got to keep that in mind. If you're really trying to torque something down or take something, loosen something up, this is not for you. I even have, next time maybe I'll do a series, a little quick one on bits. Or if we have time today, I might even just keep going. So this, guys, I got on Amazon. This is also a screwdriver that has, it's the same thing as a power one, but it's got little tiny bits. I actually have a whole tray of them, and they're little small ones, like the little pH zeros and different kinds. If you're working on a laptop, this is definitely a cool tool to use. Trying to think of something else. You could use this also if you're doing a lot of like outlets and you're just needing to just want to take it off real quick, because I have to tell you, tools are there for a reason and for a purpose. Like if you have junk tools, then that's gonna kind of be, that's a hindrance really, because junky tools don't help you at all. Now if you're just doing like a quick hack job, you don't need, like, there are screwdrivers like this is a made in Taiwan PM brand. I have had this one since college. I love this stupid screwdriver, but this is not top shelf grade screwdriver, okay? So now this one is a, I believe, Craftsman. Let's see, does this say Craftsman? Yep, barely says Craftsman right here. So I am a Craftsman fan for a lot of reasons. I like, because I do so much stuff in the garage, I like having good quality tools. But if you're not needing good quality stuff, then stick with Harbor Freight. Even brands like Cobalt and Husky are good brands. They got some decent stuff. But there are some, like Skill is a brand. I didn't know this, but Skill is actually, no, sorry, that's Black & Decker. Skill is pretty good as well. Black & Decker actually owns one of my favorite brands, which is DeWalt. And you'll see me on this channel with all kinds of, even behind me, these are all DeWalt tools. Mostly everything I use is DeWalt because of the battery packs. I just like them better. They're useful, the 20 volt max specifically. Now some people are Makita guys, some people are Milwaukee guys, and some people go, I don't know what you're talking about. That's okay, they're just brands. And think of DeWalt are the yellow ones, Makita's the blue one, and Milwaukee's the red one. I do have a few Milwaukee things, but I find that DeWalt's are easy to find because they're yellow. And I like the color black and yellow. Maybe it's because I'm a Steelers fan, but if you're looking for adding stuff to your toolbox or just tools in general, you want to make sure you at least have what I talked about with the hammer. You need to have a couple different screwdrivers, and then the extra fun stuff like this. You don't need this. You probably don't need a power screwdriver either, just because they're not necessary for normal life. I just realized one of the reasons I have a few folks in this chat that are not from, most of my fans actually are from this channel anyway, are out in either the Philippines or Australia, Japan. So all of you folks that are catching this up later, know that we'll probably try to do this more periodically, but that's probably why the volume of folks is so low on this one right now. So let me see what else we have, because we have a little more time. Let me see what I've got. So I have labeled in my garage, this toolbox. I've done a thing where I can see what kind of tools I've got because I have a little label maker. And I know that sounds so cliche and silly, but having labels on all of these, like this is the blades, this is chisel bits, and then ratchets, sockets, all, like my screwdriver drawer is literally full of nothing but screwdrivers. And I have a ton of different kinds. And I say different kinds, different sizes, different brands. I mean, this is a massive screwdriver compared to this one. But we're just showing that we have all kinds of different purposes for all these different tools. So, let me show you a really fun one. This is cool. So, this is a ratcheting screwdriver. So let me take the bit out of this one. Remember how to do it? You pull it down, you lift this thing up, back up. So this sits inside here, and then it ratchets. I have used this. This is a Workforce brand as well. I don't even know if they make these anymore. Super useful. I have had this tool for forever. What's kind of cool is that it actually has on the inside. I would tell you to buy this one, this or something like this. Small little stubby ones are very useful. So the star bits are all on the inside. There's also a pH one or or the regular size that's fit inside this head, and then you just slide that inside here. That's how this works. So this, like I said, this is ratcheting. It does a great job at just fitting into a tight space and just threading through whatever you need. So, guys, I'm gonna. I think for now, I'm gonna put these away. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna just check to see what if there's any feedback on the channel and kind of go from there. So if you're watching this late, that's okay because you may not get this one live. But I'm just doing the live stuff on this channel a little bit more if I can because I think it's kind of fun to see stuff live personally, and stuff happens in the garage. Like sometimes something breaks or something just doesn't go quite right. Something doesn't fit. Yeah, last video I had a fly that was just sitting there biting me. I'm like, really? We don't even have biting flies, but apparently this one decided to try to bite me. So just random stuff. But anyway, this is fun. So to me, like I said, I enjoy the garage. I love the garage. I love sawing, cutting, building, fixing, repairing, all those things. And I've noticed, and just I'll do my quick little spiel. People have a very short attention spans these days, and they're not really interested in much of that's long. Like sitting here for 20 minutes. I mean, I don't know anybody these days that would sit there and watch something for 20 minutes. So if you sat here and watched the entire thing, first of all, kudos and congratulations because you are the 1%. Most people just live off of shorts and they just keep scrolling through. And I myself, I'm guilty of watching a bunch of shorts because I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting and neat. But we can get into the psychology of it, but it's actually really bad for you because it gives you a quick hit of dopamine every single scroll, and so you're training your brain to constantly have a hit of dopamine all the time, and real life is not that way. I always tell my kids real life is not that interesting. If you're ever just like walking down a road and just kind of, or like driving your car and you're cruising, it's not like being on YouTube where there's just like tons and tons of constant entertainment right at your fingertips. So know that I try to make this channel very average and very just unpolished and chill because I believe this is kind of keeping the way life, preserving the way life has been and hopefully will be later in the future if we don't, all turn into a bunch of AI robots. But yeah, I think it's important for us to, find the way of having some patience and learning how to do stuff. So if you guys have any questions or comments, I would love to see those and get some feedback. And if there's tools you're like, I want to see this or that, I don't have all the tools. I do have a decent amount of tools. I have what's called the average guy's tools. There's tools for everything. I think I even have tools for like skateboards. Bicycles have a very simple set of tools with, but there's things like Allen wrenches and there's things like, different kinds of screwdrivers and whatnot. We've already covered, but there's so many different tools. Like in my garage, there's probably, I'm going to guess 285 different types of tools. So if there's a tool type that you'd like and you're like, hey, I want to understand more about this, or I've heard someone say the word, I'll pick on a torque wrench. I used a torque wrench yesterday. And again, they didn't know what a torque wrench was. And that's okay, because again, not everybody needs to know that. But if you want to learn and know how that works and what it is and why, I got a torque wrench for you. I'll show you how this is done. So with that, guys, I appreciate, like I said, all you guys liking and subscribing out there. This channel has been a blast. And sorry we didn't have much more interaction today with the chat, but that's just how these things work when we're first getting them off the ground. So we'll try to make this more periodic and do this more, systematically? No? More occasionally? Whatever that word is. I don't know. I'm the average guy, so how smart can I be, right? But anyway, I appreciate you guys, all your time, and thanks so much for tuning in and listening, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.